messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Select to make your first pick.
Class is now in session. Welcome back to the Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy, where we don't just play games, we study them, we break them down, we put them in the lab, and when the lesson gets real, we bring it straight to the class. I'm Blazing Ace Nelson, your resident martial arts maniac, tech specialist, and the guy here to remind you that sometimes the best strategy is a clean parry, a strong stance, and knowing when to stop mashing buttons. Tonight, we're opening the doors for class session number 75. And class, tonight's syllabus is a little bit of everything. We're kicking things off with the headmaster's desk, where GQ Asian Dude is talking about what happens when developers leave AAA and realize that freedom is not the same thing as stability. We're getting into studio survival, publisher pressure, player trust, and why ambition needs discipline if you want to build something that lasts. Then, before we close the desk, we'll actually touch on Sega canceling its mysterious Super Game project and what that says about the industry constantly chasing the next forever game instead of focusing on making great games with real identity. After that, I'll be leading us into This Week in Gaming History, aka the Memory Card Chronicles, covering the week of May 10th through May 16th. We got giant bugs, co-op chaos, arcade classics, and one of the most infamous PC launches in gaming history. That means we're talking Lost Planet 2, a game that basically said, what if Monster Hunter had guns, mechs, giant bugs, and 4-player chaos? We'll be also revisiting Diablo 3 on PC, where players thought they were fighting the Lord of Terror, but the real boss at launch was Error 37. Funny, I thought it said Evo 37, like Evo Moment 37 at first. But anywho, after that, we'll have ourselves a little bit of a shout out from our sponsored stream partner, W Energy, a Gamer Quotient merch break featuring the new guy and Quinn stickers. And later tonight, Oliver steps into the watchdog, keeping an eye on the games, deals, and strategy plays worth your attention. And to close out the night, the headmaster takes us to the final boss with a segment called Always Online. We're talking about Diablo 3, Lost Planet 2, burnout, energy management, and why sometimes the strongest move is not pushing forward. It's stepping back, recharging, and coming back ready. So stretch out, lock in, check your stance, charge your controllers, and get ready. Because class session number 75 starts right now. Faculty, sound off.
Right on. There we are. Look at us. Looking
Nice.
pretty.
Order.
And him looking decidedly normal. All right. I'm Oliver. I am Dean of Students. I am the guru, right? I'm the big thinker. I'm a playboy millionaire, philanthropist.
And
and
the genius part.
yes. Shut up. I'm not stupid. I know I'm smart. I was getting there. No, but seriously, no, the things that I cover here on the show is I cover deals and philosophy for the Gaming Academy. And that basically means I spend a lot of time looking at what we do in a game and what we can take out of it. And that's what I always contribute to the conversations. And I'm also the resident dumbass. So if you're going to hear something absolutely ridiculous, you can count on me, right? That's why I'm not in charge. And then we're going to hand it over to the boss. Boss?
Well, speaking of in charge, I am the headmaster of this crazy mess, GQ Asian Dude. I've been doing this channel for, I don't know, over 8 years now, I think. I think Ace had his channel before mine, but we have mutated, and I've established this foundation called Gaming Academy, which is we're live here in the Academy janitor closet, as you can see back here. So our Academy stock room is what I call it. So funding is low, but hey, the hype is high. So welcome, guys, for another episode. Glad to be here as always. Unfortunately, Nick couldn't be here tonight. He's just doing adult stuff and being busy, and he's very occupied. So, but we'll miss him for this episode. But we'll make up for that with a lot of content for tonight. And yeah, good to be here with you guys as always. And you guys don't look like yourselves typically. So can you elaborate on your remote work right now?
I can elaborate. I spent so much time dressing like an anime protagonist, I finally became one.
Yeah, this is an Isekai episode. What are you thinking? Of course it is.
But wait, if that's the case, did anyone get the number of that truck that hit us?
Oh,
it was one of those, vanity plates.
Oh no! I know what it is. It's like Def Jam fight for New York. That freight train that hit you, that was me.
Yeah, that's right. That's.
But for the real explanation, here's kind of what's going on for everyone that's kind of looking at this and going, "What the hell are these guys doing?" Well, consider this a bit of a test run for a tiny little side project. I'm making air quotes right now. That's something I'm gonna have to add in here at some point. We're working on a little side project, and so we needed to test these out and see how it's going to go for perhaps an extended part of the show where we will. I don't know how much we should say, Ace. What do you think?
You know what? I don't mind spoilers. At least not for this. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So basically, the idea is that we're going to do a kind of a separate, short, not live broadcasted show that is going to be called. Go ahead and give them the name, Ace, because it's so good. You came up with it, so you can say it.
This is going to be one of our advanced courses here at the Gaming Academy. We call it the Philosophy of Gaming, or PHG.
PHG. I love that.
PHG. And what we're going to be doing with it is it's going to be much shorter. There'll typically be hour-long episodes where we're going to go through just older titles or things like that, and it will be more gameplay focused, and we will be talking about what kinds of things that you pick up from that game that does apply to the real world, and things that you just may not have considered before, since this has kind of been one of my specialties for a couple of decades, going, oh no, you learn a lot of stuff about games. Our first episode of that should be for Castlevania 2, and the focus on having an unreliable game and narrator. Castlevania 2 is very famous for frequently lying to the player and deceiving them. And so we're going to get into the gameplay of that and see how you have to have a more discerning eye. when it comes to what information the game is giving you. So we're pretty excited for that. And one of the reasons that we're doing this talking head section is that so that people can focus more on the gameplay and focus more on what we're actually saying than anything else. And I decided to come up with this method to do it. And it just kind of did it on a whim, and it looks like it's working out so far. Obviously, this is the first run of it, so there will be bugs in the system, and we're going to get to see how you guys react to that. But yeah, that's basically the score.
Pretty cool. Long story short, more Gaming Academy content, extended hours. So
more.
So yeah, if you guys aren't tired of our content yet, we're gonna give you more content. Just very in different ways. So we're not stopping there. So
We'll give you a little something to help work towards your doctorate with.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I got to get back to my office here, but I'm going to do it right here in the stock room. Let's go ahead and cover the headmaster's desk because Jagos was very eager to send me this. So I decided to, he sent it to me 2 weeks ago. So we had to, we had to make sure that we fit it in the proper place. But here we go. Jagos, thanks for your submission as always. And let's go ahead and continue this epic journey that we've had about developers in the AAA industry. This one is called, and I think this is the finale of the trilogy that he submitted. It's called "You Left AAA. Now What?" So it looks like it's that time again. Another studio in trouble, another funding problem, another reminder that in this industry, prestige does not guarantee protection. And that's why this situation matters. Because when developers leave AAA, they do not automatically leave with a substantial future. That's the lesson. A lot of former AAA talent walk away thinking freedom is enough. Freedom to create, freedom to lead, freedom to finally make the game they always wanted to make. But freedom is not funding. Freedom is not infrastructure. And freedom is not stability. And that's where Jagos brings up an important point. If the publisher route starts closing, then what do you build for next? His answer is simple. Go to the players. Because the studio that builds lasting support usually do more than just make games. They build trust. They communicate. They listen. They give players a reason to believe their support actually matters. That is a very different relationship from AAA. And when a publisher funds you, they are betting on returns. But when players support you, they are betting on trust. And that trust has to be earned. Not with a big name, not with old credits, not with "trust us, we used to work on great stuff." You earned it by showing people you understand what you can actually build. And that leads to the most important part of this whole conversation. Once you leave AAA, you have to stop thinking like you are still in AAA. That does not mean you stop being ambitious. It doesn't mean you stop chasing greatness. It means you get to be honest. You get to be honest about your budget, honest about your team, honest about your scope. Also, honest about what kind of game can actually keep the studio alive, because that is where a lot of former AAA developers get caught. They leave the publisher, but they keep the publisher mindset. Bigger vision, bigger scale, bigger assumptions. But without the systems that used to support all that, that mindset can crush a studio before it ever finds footing. Your first game does not have to be your masterpiece, but it has to be your foundation. Your studio is your treasure. Now you got to fill it with gold. Now that means building something focused, something shippable, something strong enough to earn trust, bring in support, and fund the next step. That is the real shift. If you leave AAA, you can't just carry over the ambition. You also have to rebuild the discipline, because independence is not just freedom. It is responsibility. And if you want that freedom to last, then you cannot just leave AAA. You have to leave the mindset too. And that is what is on my desk. Now, shout out to Jagos for the submission. If you want to keep up with more of his gaming adventures, thoughts, and commentary, make sure to check out our Discord Jagos Quest channel, and also RIP Nagoshi Studios, because that is exactly where we're going to be heading to next. But I want to kind of hear from you guys What you think about this? Leaving AAA, leave the mindset of AAA also.
Honestly, I would say that the best example of that, you know, well, the best example of, I guess, the positive end of that spectrum would be Sandfall with Expedition 33, because well, both Sandfall and oh my god, I forget the name of the studio already, but the team that did Dispatch, because you know a good chunk of them were former, they were former Ubisoft staff, and in stepping out of that AAA environment, yeah, it gave them a lot more freedom, a lot more creative control, but it also, it's like that whole great power, great responsibility dynamic. They had that responsibility to be honest, not just about their process, but honest about themselves and what they can do and what they were aiming for.
Yeah.
You know, a really interesting thing about that is that yeah, you go indie and you can get a lot more creative, but you will end up in a position where you may find yourself fighting uphill. Um, One of the best examples I can think of successfully getting out of the machine and doing your own thing and making something unique, and everyone's going, "That's really fucking cool, man," is 2D Boy. And that, I mean, that's a name that goes way, 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 way back. But those are the guys that sat down and made World of Goo,
Oh,
and yeah, and that was on the Wii. So that was a hot minute back, right? That was a WiiWare release. But how they went about making it, I just remember going over their devlogs. These guys had nothing. They had nothing. The vast majority of the development of World of Goo was done inside a coffee shop because it had Wi-Fi, right? And this is where they would just go and do their work for the day. And it's like, oh wow, you guys had jack diddly squat, right? But they've managed to make something out of it because they would follow up and turn 2D Boy right into the Tomorrow Corporation, and then they would put out several more games, starting with Little Inferno, right, and then leading up to the Human Resource Machine, and then finally 7 Billion Humans, and of course. 2 years ago, they actually released a sequel to World of Goo with World of Goo
talk
2,
about your humble
right?
beginnings.
So right? They kind of they went the full circuit, and like I said, these guys or the guys that started this were EA guys, and they were just like, I'm not doing anything creative here, right? They're not getting to stretch their stretch their spread their wings and stretch their muscles on it, and so they decided to do something. And let's not forget what happened with Kojima,
True.
right? Like homie had a Rolodex and a phone. Not much else. He had nothing when he got unceremoniously booted out of Konami, right? And he basically was just kind of going on a tour of everyone. Death Stranding only exists, and this is just a fun factoid for people that don't know how that game got made. Basically, once he came around to touring Guerrilla Games, Herman Holst, like he was the guy in charge of Guerrilla Games long before he got tied up in PlayStation leadership, and he was like, "Nope, hand him the source code." Like he just showed up and they handed him a box. They're like, "Nope, here's an engine, go work." And Kojima was like, "What?" Like he was like, "No, this is too important. Like whatever you're doing, like we got you on that end. Just here's our engine, go cook." Right. And of course, Sony stepped in, and they obviously Sony saw that as a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity if like one of the most famous, most well-known game designers goes, "I don't have anywhere to work now." And it's like, oh, every time he makes something, it sells gajillions. Yeah, you kind of want to step in and help that guy, right? But it's that kind of that thing. Not everyone gets that swan song, right? Which is sad, right? Not everyone gets that kind of chance. But on the flip, guy's been doing this since I was like 4 years old. So he's got a little bit of pull, right? He didn't think he did, but obviously he does now, right? And they're just letting him make all kinds of tomfoolery. I mean, come on. They're like, oh man, we got the source code for you. Sony's going, hey, we're going to fund whatever it is you make and just go do your thing. He's like, I'm going to make a pissing on ghost FedEx simulator. And somebody said, hey, come again? I love that game.
The thing with Kojima too is like he sees games in a way that other people don't. Like I see the way Death Stranding was served up to us the same way Metal Gear was served up to us back in the 80s, right? Because like back then, I mean, the pitch for Metal Gear was you're not going to be shooting guys like in Contra. Matter of fact, you're going to be avoiding them, you know? And if I was a guy that's going to fund your game, I'd be like, that sounds hella boring. You know, so he sees things in a way we do not, but knows how to make good of them. So you tell me like, yeah, it's a FedEx, you know, FedEx delivery game, and you're like, well, there's got to be more to it. It's Kojima. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how far beyond his like whole like vision is with ours. We're like simpletons in comparison to him. So
he's got that big brain energy. He got them eyes on the inside, like he'd been fucking around with Eldritch Horrors. Like I
wouldn't doubt it.
Like
I wouldn't doubt it. Probably made a pact somewhere, you know.
Right, making weird pacts with Cthulhu.
Right? I mean,
like,
the man made us unplug a controller and plug it into port 2. That's
seriously,
that's insane. Like who would have never thought that, you know? Also, his games made his games read our memory cards. Like, what the heck? That's also crazy. Like, you know, that's beyond the technology of the time, but he made it happen, which is super neat. You know, what isn't super neat though is Sega's Super Game being canceled. Also, once again, RIP to Nagoshi Studios. I wanted to add this because this was submitted on my desk today, and man, there were more than one people were eager to talk about this. So, chat, jump in there, start chatting about this while I rip through this add-on to the Headmaster's desk. Sega's Super Game gets canceled, and before we close tonight, I want to touch more on the story. Now, according to Steven Totillo over at GameFile, Sega has officially canceled its mysterious Super Game project, a title Sega had previously hyped to investors, there's that stupid I word again, as a major global release that could potentially bring around $600 million in lifetime sales. Now, before I move forward, I want to stress to you guys, this is why our games are this way. Hyped to investors with a return of 600 million, right? Or potential to bring in 600 million. That is their primary goal. Not even if it's fun, not even if it's this, that's their goal. And this is why we are in the state of gaming that we're in right now. Now, Sega's investor update reportedly put it very plainly, decided to cancel this Super Game. Now, what makes this interesting is not just that a game got canceled, because games get canceled all the time. What makes this game one stand out is that Sega had been talking about this thing for years, like it was going to be the next big pillar for the company. A massive, global, possibly a live service style project meant to scale beyond their usual release. Now, earlier reporting around Sega's plans described the Super Game as a major title aimed at a worldwide audience, with Sega previously targeting the fiscal year ending March 2026. And honestly, this feels like another sign that publishers are starting to realize not every company needs to chase that one game to rule them all dream, right? Not every franchise needs to become a platform. Not every game needs to be a forever game. Not every idea needs battle passes, seasons, roadmaps, 5-year monetization plans. Sometimes gamers just want a damn good game. And for Sega, maybe the better move is not chasing the mythical Super Game. Maybe the better move is doing what Sega already does well and bring back the flavor. That's right. Give us strong, stylish, focused games. They gave us Shinobi, right? Give us Jet Set Radio. Give us Crazy Taxi and call it Crazier Taxi. That'd be great. And give us the Sega weirdness, right? Where is it? I just had this earlier. Sega! Yeah. Right. Now, Sega gave us weird. They gave us arcade energy, the blue sky attitude, the risk-taking personality that made people love Sega. Sega! Because the industry keeps learning this lesson the hard way. Chasing trends is not the same as building identity. And if there's a silver lining here, it's this. Maybe canceling the Super game means Sega is finally choosing the right loadout. Less chasing the live service dragon, more remembering what made Sega special. So pour one out for the Super game, guys. We never really knew. And then there's hope for Sega. Let's hope Sega puts their energy into making more of those great games. Sega! Yeah. All right. What's your thought on that? Because you can tell I have thoughts.
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like number one, it's actually a smart play canceling the Super game, especially considering how long it's been talked about with little to no, years of sizzle, little to no stake to show for it. But at the same time, I also feel like it's still a calculated move as well, because they've been seeing the writing on the wall with other live service projects that have been announced, that have been in development, and that have either released or stalled, but either way crashed either on or before arrival.
True. There's a lot of examples to pick from, right? I totally get that.
But then let's also think back to, what we mentioned earlier, how sometimes the best move isn't to push forward, but to take a step back, recharge, and, focus on the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm. Back to
same thing here. I mean, we got Streets of Rage 4. We got some pretty solid Sonic games, not just with Racing Cross Worlds and Frontiers. Let's see. We've got Shinobi, The Art of Vengeance. So that's at least three Sega classics that have made a comeback in recent years and have done fantastic.
Yeah. I'd love to see a Killer Instinct cross Eternal Champions. That'd be sick house.
Don't play with my emotions like that. Please don't play with my emotions like that.
Also, I think reinvigorating Comic Zone and updating it to like modern technology is perfect, right? Because we now have the tech to make that like one giant graphic novel.
Hell yes.
Interactable and playable. It could be like a mixture of Dispatch and an action game, right? Like that'd be sick, right? There's all these ideas. So
And
there's a lot of ideas out there.
Speaking of ideas, Cinerus is on the right track here. Remaster PSO, you cowards!
Yeah, I'll just say this and I'll let you continue, Oliver, is that I gotta give it to Sega for admitting like this isn't the way. Like they're like, because while other companies are going, no, let's just brute force this into submission and get our money back on it, right? Because live service is the way. They go, wow, look at all these cancellations, look at all these failures. I don't think we want to take it that way. I think they're really focused on the branding of Sega, really being Sega, versus like throwing something out there that has Sega on it, but it's not really them. That's it.
A thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. That's Age of Ultron right there. Like, no, that's that good shit.
That is absolutely correct.
Chasing the game that goes forever is, in my opinion, a very bad idea. The only way you're truly allowed to get away with that is, I believe, MMOs. Like that's just me. Like the structure makes sense and all that, but people burn out on them. They just burn out. I mean, people burn out on practically any game, right? And we're not even talking video games, just games, right? Like basketball or fucking Monopoly, right? People burn out on games over time. No matter how much you try to keep the fish on the hook, eventually the fish is going to get free and it's going to move on to something else. And I feel like a lot of companies, not just Sega, have lost track of their true roots and lost track of what is like the fact that we go, oh man, we want Streets of Rage. You know why? It's because we hadn't seen Streets of Rage, with 4 before that. It'd been like 20 plus years. Right. It'd been a hot damn minute. There was, the streets were raging no more. They were streets of calm. They were streets of 401ks. Like there was fucking nothing happening out there. there was just nothing going on out there. And then they were like, you know what? We need to bring back ass whoopings and make them popular again. And I said, hell yeah, I was in, And those guys did a bang up job with it. I was like, oh look, it's all my old friends, right? The same people. I'm like, oh, you got a beard now, huh? You still wearing them fucking Air Force Ones from back from '93? Yep. You're like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You're like, I'm just so glad to see you, man. How you doing? Right? You want to take really it like, dog, what's going on with you?
That's really what it was, though. I mean, even once you hit that scene, once you hit that cutscene after you finish fighting Estelle in Streets of Rage 4 and Adam shows up, it legitimately feels like reuniting with an old friend.
Because they put his ass and put him on the shelf. They said, here he is in Streets of Rage 1, and then you are never going to play as this man again. And these guys said, what if we brought back Adam? And it's like, pardon? Right? And it's like, oh, this is really cool. Like,
you can't spell segregation without Sega.
Oh my God. But then they brought in Skate. They were like, oh, what's he do? He skates. Wait, now, is it Cherry his daughter?
Yeah.
So you like, nobody else has extended family in Streets of Rage, just these guys. You're like, oh, here's his brother and here's his daughter. And to be fair, Cherry was dope as shit. Like, no, she light him up with that guitar.
Practically Mr. X, right?
Right. He said you can't spell segregation without saying it.
Can you?
Oh my God.
I don't think it's spelled that way. Let me double check that.
Listen to me. Me having this avatar is probably a bad idea.
No, it's a great idea because apparently it woke him up. I activated his fucking almonds. All it took was four sprites and a dream. But
you haven't any idea what you've unleashed.
But it's very, very, very true that look at your genres. Think about what you're doing with your company, and it's okay to be multifaceted. If you want to go, hey, we've got some live service games over here, and games that go on. It's like Monster Hunter. Like it was never considered a live service game. Now it is one, and it transitioned into being one quite easily, right? It just you could get DLC or an extra little missions on older Monster Hunter titles along the way, but it was what it was. And it was like, hey, here's an internet connection to play with other people. Long before anyone decided live service game was a thing. But now Monster Hunter kind of is. It has made that transition very well. But that's not all that Capcom sells, right? Pragmata just came out, and it went over like gangbusters for people. Really what I'm saying is you need to diversify, right? Instead of as the boss said, chasing the dragon, right? This can just be an aspect of things you do. I mean, hell, again, with Sega, Phantasy Star Online, the original PSO was practically an MMO. Like for me, that was the first MMO I played, right? Paying a little monthly fee, getting in there, hanging out with other people, having other events and, unique DLC moments and things like that.
Or like with Pearl Abyss, how they used the funds from Black Desert Online to work on and eventually release Crimson Desert.
Right, a completely single player experience. Like, you kind of got to go with that stuff. But you know what? It's fine because they'll learn the hard way.
Oh yeah, every one of them is learning the hard way. And right now they're learning the hardest way is not getting their money back with failing games. So that and what really stood out to me on this article that I was covering is that they talked about this 2019 they said, right? So this was like a different time. If you think about it, this was like 7 years ago, right? And 7 years ago gaming was so different. Like what was hype 7 years ago?
Let's see, 2019, 2020. Well, for starters, Avengers.
Okay. So this is probably the time where online games were just catching on due to everybody being shut in their houses.
Yep.
So they go, all right, we're going to give you $600 million for the super game. It's going to be online only, season pass, like all the things that was great during that year. 7 years later, they still haven't made this game yet because it's too expensive, and everybody hates live service now. So should they still make it? Probably not. So it's a good call, and I know Jagos was saying, "Oh, they didn't talk about it with their fans." Well, they wouldn't. because the fans aren't paying for the game; it's the investors, right? So that's the hope of the players now are limited to what they can do for these companies after the first sale, not the sale of the game, because the money that is given to them to make the game is from the investors. Now the investors probably want $800 million back for their 600 million, down payment. So that's the scarier part, right? They want $800 million, one from sales, and two, what comes after those initial sales on skins, on battle passes. That is a scary amount. So just know that's how it works. And them going, yeah, we're just gonna bounce. We're gonna just go screw the section 600 million. We're gonna do our own thing. Somebody in there was like whispering things. Probably not a good idea. Like let's just go back to old school, like you guys. All right. Well, that's good. Thank you, Jagos, for that. I appreciate that always. And before we jump into Memory Card Chronicles with Ace, I do want to share one of my favorite things that I've been drinking all the time, every time I'm on stream, hydrating myself, of course, is that I don't know if you knew this, but this stream is actually partnered by Dubby. Now, I wrote this to kind of differentiate what makes Dubby a little bit different than like G Fuel and all those other competitors out there, right? So I'll just read this off, and if you have any questions, feel free to put it on chat. But yeah, there are a lot of energy drinks out there. We all know the type: big cans, tons of sugar, mystery blends, artificial colors, and stuff like that. And they say, I can see through time feeling for about an hour, then the crash hits you. I've been drinking this for over 2 years. None of that's ever happened to me because Dubby is a little bit different. Now, Dubby is a powdered energy drink made for gamers, creators, students, and anyone who cleans focus without all the extra junk. So what this means, guys, is actually has 0 sugar, 0 calories, maltodextrin free. That's pre-workout stuff. That's the not good stuff, right? So I made sure that's maltodextrin free and made with no artificial colors or dyes. They also avoid fillers and fully disclose their formula on the label, which I appreciate, because I like knowing what I'm putting into my body. Now, keep in mind, this is something I wrote. This is not something that was given to me to write. This is how much I'm standing for this product. Each serving has 150 milligrams of caffeine plus focus supporting ingredients like coffee fruit extract, along with vitamins B3, B6, 12, and C. So instead of just blasting you with sugar, hopefully for the best, Dubby's actually built around energy, focus, and mental clarity. So my favorite flavor right now is Japanese yuzu. It reminds me of Tang when I was a kid. So I really love that. And that's what's actually in here right now. It's citrusy, it's orange. Love that. So if you're kind of looking for an alternative to Red Bull, Monster, all those energy drinks, and you want a clean one, I highly recommend this one. And use the code GQ Asian Gaming and get 10% off.
His ass said Tang.
Yeah, astronaut drink.
I'm over here. I'm offended because I'm like, you better put that damn jitter back in my energy drink. Quit playing with me. If I'm buying it, I want the jitter. I want the shake. I want to be able to make a margarita without thinking about it.
Did you guys know Tang was named after the dynasty that the yuzu was found in?
Are you serious? Are you fucking with me?
No, I'm serious.
You're not pulling no Tom Holland, Nathan Drake.
No. Like the Tang dynasty is one day when like Westerners discovered yuzu. That's why they call it Tang.
I don't know. I still think he's fucking with me. I'm like, is he bullshitting me? Is he hit me with eyes on the inside, or is he?
It could have been. Yeah. I was at trivia when I found it.
All I know is astronauts drink it and Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Tang don't smoke.
Tang. Yeah, dude. I think it was like I inhaled Tang when I was a kid. Tang.
Oh yeah.
Did they ever make any other flavors except just orange?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, there have been other flavors. I've had strawberry Tang before.
Oh wow, that's new to me. All right, Amazon, here we go.
I didn't know that. Oh yeah, no. Apparently there's orange Tang, mango, pineapple.
I've been missing out.
Now I gotta go find some shit.
I know.
No. Yeah, no. There's
top 3 I'm taking a quick look at the Wikipedia article for this bad boy, and the top 3 markets for Tang around the world are Brazil, Argentina, and the Philippines.
Oh, hey,
Oh
there we
yeah.
go.
I'm
Got
looking
him.
at this. I'm looking at this strawberry tang right now. No, like apparently, yeah. Well, we're being cheated.
Right.
I gotta get some tang, honey. Order some tang. Tang us. Put the tang in the household.
Yeah, but
That's
check
what's
it out,
up.
guys. W Energy, like I have 12 flavors in my house. I love it. It saved me a lot of money too, instead of buying Red Bull every day. So, all right, guys, ready for this week in gaming history?
The nostalgia is back. Ladies and gents, class, it's time for more Memory Card Chronicles, aka This Week in Gaming History. Now, for the folks that are joining us for the first time, here's a quick refresher. In Memory Card Chronicles, the panel, that would be us on the faculty, will take the class on a trip through an entire week of gaming history. Each day of this current week features a game handpicked by one of the panelists. And together, we revisit 7 days worth of legendary releases, seismic industry shifts, personal stories, and the moments that made gaming history unforgettable. And to start us off, actually, it looks like Oliver's got a pretty sizable banger coming out on May 10th. So, take it away, boss.
Yes, ma'am. I sure do have a certified banger of a game. One of the most important video games ever released, in my opinion. Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions. Now, this is a remake of Final Fantasy Tactics, which is widely considered one of the best video games ever made. Period. Like, it's not up for discussion. And basically, War of the Lions does a series of rebalances across the game because, yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics, you break that game pretty quick if you just knew what you were doing. Additionally, they did whole new, completely animated cutscenes in the style of those little noseless cherubs that consist of the cast of Final Fantasy Tactics. They also added in brand new content, such as Cloud. Or wait, was Cloud available in the original?
Nah, Cloud was available in the original.
Cloud was in the original, but who is it that they added? Balthier, I think it was from from Final Fantasy 12, and of course they let him have a gun like an alchemist or the machinist Mustadio, right? But it also added back in because this is something that was actually cut, and you couldn't access it without a Game Shark. You could get to it if you had a Game Shark and the old PlayStation, right? That actually had the serial port on the back. There was actually a versus mode completely in there, right? Like, oh, you guys just square up and plug in another controller and go. But no, they had to cut it at the last minute. Well, they restored that back in this version of the game, including, of course, making it widescreen because originally, Final Fantasy Tactics was made for standard definition TVs. One of the most important things about this is that Final Fantasy Tactics is so beloved that it basically ends up spawning an entire sub franchise of Final Fantasy within Final Fantasy, right? This is most people's first taste of Ivalice, right? Like an entirely different lore set. It's very serious. There's nothing silly about Final Fantasy Tactics. It's all very, very serious stuff, right? Dealing with, political conflict, religious conflict, right? And being caught up in the middle of all that and what it actually means and how history gets manipulated by bad actors in every side and in every position. Everyone's out to get something. And then on top of it, it's a tactics game, right? I didn't even get into the actual combat flow, but it's such a tremendous game. And if I'm to go back in time, I played that ever-loving hell out of Final Fantasy Tactics when I was 16 years old. Like, that's what I did. I finish up at school, get home, bust out my homework, just burn through that as fast as possible, and I was just clocking time in Tactics. It's the first time I ever saw a game's in-game counter, right, of how long you've been playing. It's the first time I watched the game broke. Like the counter just broke after a while. It stopped at 99 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds, and would not go up from there. I played that game for so long. For the homies that don't actually know, like in the original releases of Tactics. Now, as I get into this doesn't apply to the most recent release of the game that they did. So you kind of have like a historium that you can look at any time and just kind of get biographies of all the current players in the game. And time does pass in Final Fantasy Tactics. So it takes about, is it a day or is it a week to travel from one location to another
Oof.
on the map?
I believe it's a day.
Well, when the game starts, the main plot point of Final Fantasy Tactics is that basically king and queen are dead. The only person who has the right to the throne is an infant, and there are two relatives that are equal distance from that kid, right? And they're trying to figure out who has the right to basically be the steward of this until the kid is old enough to be king. That's the main political conflict that's going on. Well, he's like one. By the time I finished the game on the PlayStation, that kid was like 42 years old. I'm like, why are we even having this fight? Like, that's just
our age.
It was a grown ass man. I was like, why are we even in this conflict? This doesn't make any sense. But it was just really cool that it tried to keep accurate track of time and to show that these things do not happen merely over the course of a few days or weeks. Sometimes conflicts, really horrifying ones, last for years. I mean, hell, in the real world, we have something called the 100 Years' War. Like, oh no, y'all were fighting for a while. And, just to really give you a better idea of that, I recently told my wife, I was like, you realize that the Korean War never ended, right? And she's like, what? I was like, no, that was an armistice. I'm like, they're just not currently shooting at each other, but there's never been a full declaration of war's over. No. So Korean War is just, it really is a kind of a Cold War and has been like that since long before any of us were born.
Oh,
and
damn.
this game is a great example of that kind of stuff. Like, no, sometimes these things go on for years. Whole generations of people will be born and they'll die, and the conflict is still happening. It's still going on, right? And this game is just so great on so many fronts because it gave us, well, arguably the best version of Sid that's ever shown up in Final Fantasy with TG, Thunder God Sid. Because it's like, oh, hey, by the way, you've made it this far in this game? Yeah, by the way, we're going to give you a knight. We're going to give you a Sid. You're like, hey, look at Sid from Final Fantasy. Yes, but we're going to give him basically the moveset of every knight class and subclass in the game. You're like, yeah, you want to destroy that guy's armor? Just break it right off his body and then absolutely brutalize him? Yeah, you can do that, right? Oh, you want him to have Dark Knight powers? Yeah, you can do that. Holy Knight powers, he's like got that too. By the time you get him, he's not leaving the roster. That's all I'm saying. He comes in, he's staying in. In fact, during the most recent release of the game, they were Square Enix was very much so questioned about him being grotesquely overpowered. They're like, are you going to rebalance that? Because, yeah, he kind of breaks the game. They're like, well, by the time you get him, you should have some punching power. Like, we've been kicking your ass this entire time. It's time for a little payback. They're like, shut up and be happy.
You're gonna take this Sid and like it.
But as I stop talking on this one, we move on to the next game. One of the best things about this game is there's three kind of core components that really make Final Fantasy Tactics shine. And as you can see from the gameplay here, you'll be able to see someone's zodiac sign, and you'll be able to see their bravery, and you'll be able to see their faith. And these are such critical stats that it just changes the entire experience. So people and their zodiac, just based on when they're born, has an effect on how they're going to interact with any other unit in the game, or even how spells will work on them, right? So people on the opposite end of the zodiac will deal more damage to each other, and people who are too close to each other aren't as effective against each other. Bravery literally, if your character is brave, they're able to be more accurate and they will hit harder. But if their bravery gets too low, they will turn into an actual chicken and not just flee the battle. They'll flee your army. They will tap the fuck out. They'll be like, "No, I'm good." Right? Characters who have incredibly high faith are very, very susceptible to magic. So they're very good at casting it, and magical effects on them just go way up. Can be a huge advantage or a huge disadvantage. Oh, you've got a lot of faith. Your belief in magic is basically what that is. And the more you believe in it, the more effect it's going to have on you. And then they start introducing interesting exceptions to this. There is a unit that you'll acquire later on called Worker 8. He's a robot. And because he's a robot, he has no soul. And because he has no soul, he doesn't believe in magic. So no magic works on him in any capacity. It doesn't matter if it's attack magic, doesn't matter if it's healing magic. He's like, I don't believe in that shit. He's like, I'm a fax machine. What are you on about? So it's like, wait a minute, this guy can be exceptionally powerful under the right conditions. You go up against a bunch of mages, and they're gonna have to go in there and melee with that guy. And it's like, oh, you don't want that smoke, right? You don't want to fight that guy. He's gonna fucking pulverize you. Right, but you have to learn how to manage all of those stats and really look at a situation as it unfolds. It's truly a great game.
Sweet. I haven't picked up the remake yet, or not remake, but the whatever you want to call it, remaster. But it's definitely just a add to your collection.
Also, a little bit of extra trivia for folks from a character design standpoint. The character artist for Final Fantasy Tactics and for Tactics War of the Lions, that artist had gone on to sign on at Cygames, and their most recent work, Grand Blue Fantasy.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's neat.
It is really stinking neat.
It's here somewhere. I don't have my games in alphabetical order. I'm a noob. All right, so let's see here. Next day, actually have the honor to do this one here because I have thoughts of this game. My game of choice this week is Lost Planet 2 for the PS3 because that's what I played it on. And during this time, I would say that I was not a huge Monster Hunter fan. But now going back to it after Monster Hunter Worlds, I'm like, man, I would love to see a Lost Planet remade into the Monster Hunter formula. So that's pretty cool. So as I boot up this gameplay video, I got some fun trivia things I want to share with you guys on Lost Planet.
Please explain it to me because it is one of the Capcom series that I never got around to. I have no clue what Lost Planet really is.
Yeah. So the first one was more just like a third-person shooter, right? I don't know if you played the first one, right? With a hint of survival because you were out in basically the Arctic and you had to have thermal energy to keep yourself alive. So you couldn't just be out there. You had to keep moving, keep shooting, and keep collecting thermal energy, right? And then in the second one, they flipped the script. And they were like, we're going to take this universe and we're going to make this into a 4-player online co-op game that is basically getting your team from point A to point B, and somewhere in the freaking middle is a giant fucking monster like that, right? And then depending on the stage has specific mechanics that you guys as a team can kind of like work together to like make the boss fight easier. So for example, the best one I can think of is there's a train level, and in the train level you're being chased by this giant sandworm, like a dune sandworm. And if you're playing 4 players, one of you can control the cannon, one of you brings the shells into the cannon to load them up, the other one steers the train, the other one like cools down the train. And if you don't have that, you're going to be on there for a long time because the AI is not great in this game. But it's one of those games that requires like 4-player co-op, just like in Monster Hunter. And it almost, and correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a while, Ace, the movement almost feels like Monster Hunter also, from what I recall as well.
It kind of does from what I've seen of it so far. I didn't get around to playing much of Lost Planet 2 or the first one. but it definitely had that Monster Hunter vibe to it for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because it doesn't have like a map where you can kind of go to certain segments, right? They created were these nodes right here, right? So it's basically like four of you guys will fight your way to each node, and that's your checkpoint, right? When somebody falls, you can actually see that. I think there's a see that top left life bar there, the red. That's your thermal energy. And that's the thing that keeps you guys like basically alive also, and it's also like your it's almost like your mana. I think what I'm going to say here. The reason why that's important is because when your guys fall, you guys give them thermal energy because you guys like share that pool, I believe, or you have your own, and that keeps you guys going. Because I think you can't leave anybody behind, from what I remember. Like all four of them have to make to the next checkpoint eventually. So here's the thing. Here's some tidbits on Lost Planet 2. So basically, it's Monster Hunter with guns, mechs, and giant bugs. Lost Planet 2 leaned heavily into huge boss battles against massive acrid creatures, with teams climbing, shooting, and grappling, and using mechs called vital suits. Co-op boss fight structure feels very Capcom in its best way. How do I put this? Freedom Wars.
Go on.
This would be if they implemented this into Monster Hunter, it would be Freedom Wars because they have the grappling, right? They have the you could like latch on to the bug and shoot them, right? So, but it's like not refined, but basically kind of the same situation. Hopefully we can get to a boss fight here to kind of show you like the intensity of it. But show you
You
here.
have
No.
Freedom Wars. You've got my attention.
Here's an interesting little bit of trivia related to the game. So, because of when Lost Planet 2 came out, you can't buy this game on Steam. You can buy Lost Planet 1, you can buy Lost Planet 3. Unfortunately, Lost Planet 2 is one of those games that had Games for Windows Live in it.
That's annoying.
And Capcom has basically effectively pulled the game from Steam for the moment. While they're trying to sort that out. In fact, I'll go ahead and read that message. Just a message from Capcom. We are aware of an issue that some customers may be experiencing during game installation, which is related to Games for Windows Live. We are temporarily disabling the purchase option on Steam while we investigate the matter further. We will keep you informed of the progress of the investigation. Thank you for your patience. And I have no clue when that happened.
Until
like something went down. Right, so all I can do is just kind of try and track it down, or
wait, yeah. Or I'm sure it can be emulated, right? I'm sure it can. This bad boy ran on Capcom's MT Framework 2.0, which is RE5 DMC4, so that's pretty neat.
It can be emulated. I mean, earlier I was playing Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3, so yeah.
Okay.
PS3, it can be emulated.
This game also takes place 10 years later after the first game. So, matter of fact, I think the situation they're in right now, they're actually on the same planet, but the ice has melted. Right, so down there in the jungle after all this here. More fun facts here. Thermal energy worked differently this time. In the first game, your T, E, and G constantly drained because of the cold. In Lost Planet 2, the warmer climate meant energy was less of a constant survival timer, more tied to using weapons and the vital suits. See, the PS3 version got Monster Hunter crossover armor. So if they weren't trying to make Monster Hunter out of this, I don't know what is, but right. So that was there. The 360 version got Marcus and Dom skins from Gears of War.
Neat.
Also, Albert Wesker and Frank West showed up for skins in this game as well. Seems like
that's just cool.
Right?
Well, I have an answer. Like further, just trying to kind of chasing down this conundrum. So basically, here's what happened. Lost Planet 2 was removed from Steam on November 9th, 2021. It was delisted with many other games that had the Games for Windows Live issues, right? It was supposed to be temporary, but it was unavailable for purchase for years, right? And then in May of 25, right, they updated the game to remove Games for Windows Live, but this update also removed online multiplayer functionality and broke existing save files.
Oh, so the whole point of the game just doesn't exist.
Just murked, just
Yeah.
absolutely bodied, right?
Yeah.
They were able to fix Resident Evil 5 by integrating that with Steamworks, but no, Lost Planet 2 is now Lost Media 2. Like,
Lost Media too. Yeah, it's good.
it's just gone.
One of the cool things about this game too, and the vital suits, the mech suits that they have, multiple players can actually jump on the suit. Like two of them could be like gunners, and the other one could be the pilot. It was like made to be co-op, like the way they designed it and everything. It also sold 1.5 million copies, but never became the co-op monster hit it could have been. That's just kind of how it is. Like, and this is one of those things too. Like, it changed the formula from the first game, so people probably didn't understand. Like, oh, this is not the same game I played in the first one.
Right.
All right.
That's what happens when you make weird sequels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Without telling the public on what the plan is, right? They're just like, oh, here's your game. Have fun.
It would have been nice if y'all said something to us.
Yeah, well, according to Sega, they don't say anything to you.
He said no.
All right,
they said,
here's a
Sega!
game. Here's a game for you guys.
Sega!
Oh Lord, here we go.
Speaking of hard games,
Here we fucking go.
Your man chose violence today.
Oh boy.
So, on this day in 1989, this bad boy released in Japan, and oh boy, this was the day that a generation of gamers would be introduced to the essence of stress in digital form. Now, to be fair, this game was a real treat to find as, an 80s kid that already loved TMNT. I mean, come on. I'm the youngest of four boys. I'm also the more technologically inclined, so you can guess that, yeah, I was the Donatello of the four of us. But, yeah, very few of us made it past that dam.
I'm going straight to that level right now. I will show you that these guys hate children.
Let alone manage to rescue the other turtles within a weekend rental. And honestly, I feel like that little mechanic that was added in the original game was such a unique little twist that I hadn't even seen really until,
Oh God, what happened?
brace yourselves for this one, Warframe.
Jago said it right. They need a child hating certified logo on these games.
That's the Nintendo seal of quality.
Oh boy, that is an ass whooping in a 6x6 box, boy. Let me tell you, this is what we talk about. Nintendo hated children, and we are stronger for it. They said, you know what? We hate them fucking kids. We're gonna give them an impossible task, right? It's like this shit is like the John Wick of video games. It's like, oh, you want to make it to adulthood? You need to disarm all these bombs underneath this dam. And we're like, I can't. They're like, that's right, you can't.
Like,
oh boy.
Sparta trial.
Yeah, it's some real Agogi shit. If you wanted to make it, you're like, oh, you want to be a man. You think you're a man, huh? Why don't you go down here and deal with this fucked up electrified seaweed? You're like, why is it electrified? They're like, if you shut your ass up and do what you are told. Man, the margins of error on this are so tight, but it really did make something of us. Shit, this is one of the things that we need to cover on the show because this whole game is psychological torture. Like, people be scared of Bloodborne. Look at this shit.
The noise it makes when you touch those things terrifies you.
Ugh.
Oh man, you be getting
I
your
can
ass
hear
lit
it now.
You're like, oh. The only thing I now ask as a grown man is, who the fuck made all this? Who built all this underneath here? What? How did you guys even get the bombs down there?
Fucking Stockman.
The damn bug man, of course. Man, but if you made it past this and got to the Technodrome, oh man, that was just as scary, right? Getting through just all of this. And you know what's weird? We talk about how difficult this game is. It is shockingly very accurate to the source material. You got all the brothers. Oh, hush. But no, it's like it's really faithful to its source material, man. You got April up in there. You had the turtle van, right? You shot missiles at people, right? And since we're pulling it up here, I only recently learned, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, that in the EU they're not allowed to be called ninjas.
Correct.
As you can see on the screen, they are called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles because there's a unique. I only discovered it because of a unique all-in-one box, right, for the NES for the European market, and this was the pack-in game, and I was like, "What the fuck are the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles?" No, they were like, "Nope, we're not having it." The violence that is just inherent in that name, ninja, is too much for this market. I was like, get the hell out of here. How did I never learn about this until now? So yeah, if your ass lives in Europe, you don't know what the fucking ninja is. You're like, no, there's it's just some
There
turtles
is
running
no
around.
way Michael Dudikoff is crossing the sea.
I
And
think
look-
also like they treat nunchucks the same way they would treat a gun in Europe too.
Yeah,
It's a-
notice how they're not on that cover.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, speaking of cover, 513 Ace. This is a treat. I didn't
Oh,
expect
yeah.
this.
So we got a double header for you today, ladies and germs.
Oh boy.
May 13th, celebrating its 50th anniversary as of tomorrow. Breakout. One
Wow.
of the earliest games that I've played in the arcades alongside its 80s contemporary Arkanoid. Breakout's simple premise: use the ball to break blocks by bouncing it off a paddle at various angles. It spoke to little kid Ace's brain at the time. And it speaks to me even today in the form of Ball Pit.
You know what's funny? That is the most deceptive fucking cover I've ever seen. You buy that game, you think your ass is playing tennis, and they're like, no,
Nope.
no, it's beautiful art.
It ain't quite Pong.
Yo, what's up? What is that? Am I like seeing things? Why is that thing like zigzag?
No, you are not seeing things.
What? That defies logic.
What in the actual
That
hell
is-
is happening here?
That is so many laws of physics being defined right there.
It's
That's
like, oh, y'all
crazy.
made those physics up.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, I think Jagos isn't familiar with Arkanoid.
Oh, we got
It's like a far more refined take on Breakout.
Basically.
And they kind of add some goofy, silly little lore. Like it's almost kind of, but not Space Invaders.
Yeah,
is
they-
kind of a way to put it.
and another thing that they also did was, add like different types of paddles and different types of balls that you could use. So
Man.
Arkanoid is effectively a proto Ball Pit.
it is, and then like I think in one of the newer Arkanoids too, like your paddle can also have guns on it, which is like
Mhm.
super
Yep.
cheap. But yeah, this is like advanced.
And this is what I started playing. This was my first experience, and instead of just the normal Breakout, but yeah, doing this and having the paddle extend and get bigger, and oh no, it's great. Like there's a reason us old dirty men like we were like, hell yeah, that Ball Pit's great, son. Right?
Exactly.
It talks to us.
On a
there it is. There's your
fundamental
laser.
level.
Oh man, I didn't expect this to be on the list tonight, but this is cool.
Seriously, look at that cover. Beautiful art. Has nothing to fucking do with the game. They're like, oh, we need to cover Breakout. Oh, give them some tennis.
Kind of like the
some
cover of
tennis,
Phalanx.
Yes. You're like, why is that dude playing a banjo? But it's tight. Oh, now this game, this is near and dear to my heart.
Mm.
So
Tell us more.
this is probably the last time in my life that my older brother and I just sat down and played a game and just enjoyed the game and each other's company. So Hunter the Reckoning is based on World of Darkness, same as Vampire the Masquerade and all that jazz. When this dropped, it was some of the most advanced, wild ass graphics on the OG Xbox. I remember the day we went and got this. Now, bear in mind, it's like 2002. So my goofy little ass is like 19 years old, right? Like, oh no, young man. My car was broken. I drove a Dodge Omni. It was gold. It was excellent. And my car was in the shop. And my brother came and picked me up. He was like, yo, I'm picking up this game. He's like, get on your job. Toss the game at me. Here I am flipping through the manual while we're driving back to his place because we're about to go in here and kill some fucking demons. This game right here is the source of I don't play with demons, right? So here's the basic premise of Hunter the Reckoning. If you're just not familiar with all of World of Darkness stuff, kind of your crash course of World of Darkness is that yes, you have like all these different pen and paper games that kind of operate within the same general universe. You have Hunter the Reckoning, you have Vampire the Masquerade, you had Wraith the Oblivion, you have Orpheus, all kinds of stuff like that.
Mage
And
the Ascension.
yeah, go ahead.
There's also Mage the Ascension.
Mage Ascension. Yep. Did I mention the other ones? I think there was like 5. Was it 5 or 6 connected rule books?
Let's see. Werewolf, Vampire, Mage, Wraith, and Kindred of the East.
Kindred of the East. Thank you. Perfect. So in Hunter the Reckoning, everyone that's a hunter is basically just been some regular ass person walking around, and they basically, it's kind of like the Matrix in a sense, where you saw some shit that doesn't make sense, and now you are aware that supernatural stuff exists, and now you can't unsee it, right? And in that moment, they call it being imbued, right? And the circumstances in which you were exposed to those supernatural elements helps determine what your hunter's creed is. And so in this particular game, you're playing like one of the characters you can play as is a priest, right? And he, because of the circumstances of his imbuement, right, he is a judge. He literally judges all supernatural beings. Whether they're good or bad is irrelevant. He just determines what happens with them. And then there's the Avenger, right, who's just all about payback. There's a Defender, and there's even a Martyr. And I happen to play the Martyr, right? And she's got these really powerful edges. That's what their moves and powers are called, right? But almost everything she does reflects back on her. So if I go to heal you as the Martyr, it hurts me in the process. Right. So you have this really sacrificial play style where you're going to have to give up your life for theirs. And eventually, like, even though Hunter the Reckoning came out on the PS2, but then they also made additional offshoots and kind of continued this story. So I think one of the versions of the game is particularly rare now. I'm not sure. I don't have to look it up. But there was Hunter the Reckoning Wayward.
Yeah,
and
it was like
there,
a sequel expansion.
yeah, exactly. And then there was Hunter the Reckoning Redeemer, right? And the Waywards are like they consider it a lost hunter creed just because they're basically everyone that becomes a Wayward is literally certifiably insane, right?
Oh.
and they basically the other hunter creeds, they can turn off their ability to see shit, right? And just kind of go. These guys can't. They're in 24/7. They're dunked in the tank, right? So everything, they're hammers and everything's a fucking nail. They're like, oh. And then, of course, with the Redeemer, what's so interesting about that game is that the Redeemer that you get to play as, the new hunter creed that's added, is the little girl that you save at the beginning of this game.
Oh, cool.
Right? She's attacked by her gigantic teddy bear that has like all kinds of fangs.
Christ.
Right? And even the really
Teddy
cool...
Ruxpin gone insane.
Yes. And you have to save her from this rampaging possessed teddy bear. And the imbuing moment for all the principal characters in this particular game is watching I believe it was a mass serial killer being executed at a particular prison. So think of it kind of like the Zool building fucking exploded, right? And they're like, oh no, they're seeing everything for what it truly actually is. And even though it's just really a straightforward kind of hack and slash action game with some light RPG elements, man, again for the time for 2002 on that OG Xbox, woo, it don't get better than this.
Yeah, I like when I just watching this video, it reminds me of Return of the King, and that was like super fun to play, right? I can only imagine like outside of that, there's another game like it. It's really cool.
You know, I wonder if they were built on the same engine. I could have swore I heard something like that, or there's shared devs or something.
Yeah. What's cool is that they're actually bringing this back too. It looks like Hunter the Reckoning Death Wish is coming out in 2027 in this universe. So
Really?
yeah, kind of neat. There's a vampire and a werewolf like face to face on the box cover. Seems like really interesting, and Mankind's in the middle with a shotgun.
That's gonna be something to keep an eye out for.
It's always good because I'm a fan of that Vampire the Masquerade, you know, and I didn't know Hunter was in the same universe, so that's pretty cool. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah, like that. In fact, that's what some of the stuff that we saw. So obviously, Hunter the Reckoning comes out, and then just a couple years later, right, we get Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines on Steam and all that. But this is all kind of leading up to the time of Judgment, where they were going to shut down all these book lines, where they have an authentic, legitimate Armageddon, like a full on apocalypse,
Oh dang!
and everything is like all the stories kind of gradually move in that direction before they introduced the new World of Darkness and kind of rebooted these properties and got rid of ones that weren't doing so great and all that. But yeah, messy IP. It's a real messy IP.
Come back next year.
And for a hot second there, I'm not sure if it's still the case, but the guys that made EVE Online, they owned that entire IP for a hot second.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, like it was a really it's a weird convoluted thing, but you know what? It's better that Hunter exists than just kind of exist in the past like Shadowrun does, which I weep.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I think there was a short period of time in 2021 where I got into the Shadowrun games, like the newer ones. Like there's like 4 of them.
Mhm.
Wasn't bad. Like but nothing beats the OG one. Opinion.
Now, let me just say real quick before you get in on this game, I'm going to get in trouble just because you're talking about the game. Okay? I'm by default, I'm in trouble in my goddamn house just because Diablo 3 popped up on screen. Watch it happen.
3 times. Well, you know, I think everyone knows what D3 is about, and you know, D4 is the hotness right now for Blizzard at the moment. But I did bring up a few tidbits about D3, so I won't go into it too much, but I will share these tidbits with you guys. So starting with error number 37. When Diablo 3 launched on PC May 15 in 2012, players had to be online even for solo play. Boom. Blizzard's login servers got crushed so hard, the infamous Error 37 meme where players could not even access single player. That's right. That's what it was. Just like SimCity. Oh, man. Online. Single player online craziness. It also had a real money auction house. PC version originally let players buy and sell loot using their in-game gold or real money, just like in World of Warcraft. So that's more on that. Now, the auction house was eventually killed off. Blizzard announced its closure in 2013, shut down both the gold and real money auction houses on March 18, 2014, because it undermined Loot Hunt. Yeah, you think? The original PC version was much harsher than modern Diablo 3. Earlier Diablo 3 had brutal difficulty spikes, especially Inferno mode, before major patches and Reaper of Souls came often felt balanced around trading and auction house gear. It also went through a major identity glow up. D3 launched as one of the Blizzard's most controversial game because they kind of went towards the World of Warcraft direction versus that like gothic, dark D2, D1 style of art. And it really confused a lot of people on the tone of this game. So, and that leads us to the art style being controversial because before even the game was released, Some fans felt D3 looked too colorful compared to Diablo 2. The too bright debate became one of the earliest major fan controversies around the game. It kind of reminds me of the time of now where like everything looks like Fortnite. Like they love that art style in their games. So this was of its time as well.
Huh.
The Witch Doctor was almost the new Necromancer. At launch, Blizzard did not include the Necromancer class. The Witch Doctor filled that part of the creepy summon and curse fantasy, but players kept asking for the true Necro until it was finally returned to us years later as DLC. And last tidbit here is the PC version helped define the always online debate because it required constant internet connection. D3 became one of the biggest early examples of people pointing out when arguing about whether single player games should need online authentication. I think that's really the major debate here. This is what really the main highlight of Diablo 3, in my opinion. That topic of like, does a single player game really need to be online? What the hell? It undermines the whole reason why I want to play. I don't really want to play online with people. Why do I need to be online?
Asking the important questions here.
The joke here is I hate Diablo. I can't stand Diablo 1. I can't stand Diablo 2. They're like, oh, there it is. I brought out the hater hat. It's back on. I could not stand those games. They were just so boring to me. And then something different happened. Diablo 3 is the only one that got its hooks into my ass, right? This is bait, and by God, it worked. Because I've played the ever-loving Christ out of Diablo 3. Shit. She played Diablo 3 with me. We were running and gunning, kicking ass and taking names, going for gold. She's mad at me to this day because we were very close to platting these on console. And this is kind of the joke, is that, that whole debate about always online. That shit was never an issue on console. You didn't have to go online for anything. you didn't have to do shit.
On PC, I only went straight to PS4. So you're telling me there was a no online single player on the console version?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's just like, nope, you don't have to do any of that nonsense. You just sit down and play the game and enjoy it. You're like, yeah.
Also, one of the few games that translated really well on controller.
Oddly.
I want to add that because not a lot of PC games translate really well on controller. This game felt really good to play on controller.
Exceptionally well on the controller. You're like, yes. Like, they're like, hey, map shit wherever it's comfortable for you. You're like, okay. You're like, okie doke.
Yeah. No, it's all good for because I only played it on a console and local co-op. I played a lot. This was my game back in 2020 where I just wanted to like go home, turn off my brain, and just kill demons. Literally, that's what it was. This was the Vampire Hunter Survivors for me during that time. So.
I've always hated wizards. I played the shit out of that wizard, man. I would throw so many tornadoes and lightning bolts and nonsense around. That was cool.
My class too. Yeah, wizard was awesome.
But listen to me. Understand this. Here's how hardcore this woman went at this game. She plays like 5 games, right? And if she plays a game, she plays that shit for like 6 years. She literally has finished hardcore mode, no deaths, before I did. And she did that shit with like a guardian or a paladin, fucking whatever. She went hard. So she was like, come on, let's plat this shit. I'm like, girl, I got shit to do. And she's like, just glaring at me. Quit fucking with my emotions. Pick up the stick now. I'm like, oh, she's serious. It's like, just go get your platinum. Just go get it. Go get it. Go do the thing. No. So Diablo 3 is oddly a very good game. It has no business being good. I think it's I think the real takeaway here though is that they messed up. They messed up real bad. Yes, they did. Like right from the get-go. But they somehow managed to make something good come from that. And that's always just kind of odd to me. Right? Yeah. Like, I'm like, this is a neat set of affairs. And obviously I haven't even bothered with Diablo 4 because they did the exact same thing again. Oh, hey, look, it's always online and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, they're like, oh, it's kind of an MMO. Like, you're going to run into other people. I don't want to hang out with other people. I want to hang out with my wife. Just go out here and tell Satan to kiss my ass. Right.
Yeah, no, it's really strange because like I know I know exactly what you're talking about because D1 and D2 are different games than D3,
Yeah.
right? And I think which is interesting is I think it's a blessing in disguise that they messed up D3 because like, you know, I get it. You're trying to cater to D1 and D2 people, right? But then you ended up capturing another audience that wasn't into that kind of game by accident, by messing up the game that everybody wanted, and other people outside of that like bubble enjoyed the game, which is really interesting. So you never know until you release it.
Mhm.
Really cool. Now here's a game that you don't really know until you release it, and this game has come up on this podcast many times, and I urge Square Enix to urgently make a remake of this because I would totally play it. I want the voice acting in like Shakespearean too.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
would be so fire.
No notes.
No notes.
No notes. It's
So
beautiful.
yeah, look, when Oliver mentioned earlier that most people's first interaction, most people's first experience with the world of Ivalice in Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy Tactics. For me, it was Vagrant Story, largely because I had at the time skipped Final Fantasy Tactics. It wasn't quite my jam, but Vagrant Story was. But aside from that, though, this game right here really, it reshaped my whole worldview when it came to storytelling, when it came to character design, when it came to game design, when it came to the applied sciences for which I am known for here at the Academy. I would not think the way I do. I would not see mechanics in games the way I do without playing Vagrant Story. Like this game was and still remains a technical marvel to this day.
He's
I-
spitting truth.
Like I legitimately can't. I can think of very few games that even come close to the kind of feeling that you get as you were playing through the game. This isn't that whole, it makes you feel like Batman kind of thing, but it's so unique that there are other games out there that have come close to it, like say for example on a larger scale, Attack on Titan with the limb targeting,
Yep.
or how it took the the grid, sorry, the range sphere from Parasite Eve.
Yep.
But this is a case of often imitated, never duplicated.
It's a one of one. Vagrant Story is is truly a one of one. There's nothing else like it. To this day, like when I was playing Control, right? That when that came out from Remedy, right? To this day, I judge all 3D maps in all games. If your map is 3D, this is the bar and no one has met it because it's one of the you just look at it and it's a completely rotatable 3D map. You absolutely need it in order to maneuver around this place. And by God, it just works. The amount of sheer customization of your gameplay experience in Vagrant Story has yet to be rivaled to this day. Like, there's so much interesting lore. There's so much stuff that goes behind this game that people don't know about. Just for example, the opening title scene. Can you pull that up for us, GQ?
Yep.
Because this is actually this is a ton of history right here. It's even in my college textbooks for when I was going to school for game design. The intro for Vagrant Story, which you're about to see here. Yep, right there. This is the first time in game history that anyone had used Maya 3D to create an opening sequence, right? So they hadn't thought to do it. They didn't know that they could, so they were like, "Hey, we're going to do this thing." So it's got this unique place in history, especially in the year 2000. They break so many rules in Vagrant Story about how a game is even built, right? It's also an incredibly small game. Last I checked, it's so ridiculously small.
It's not.
That
What do you call it?
it's 93 megabytes.
Yeah.
It is tiny. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, like most of the a PlayStation ROM disk was about 600, right? Somewhere around there, between
Yeah,
700
700.
megabytes. Yeah, this game is 93 megabytes big. Like, they didn't need the space. You will be in Vagrant Story for a hot minute. And
Without question.
on top of it, again, breaking RPG conventions. There's no NPCs. There's no stores. Anything you get, you find, or you're going to take your ass into a workshop and you're going to make everything yourself. The equipment, you're going to find basic pieces of equipment. And you need to learn what the hell Hagain means, because that's an old word for steel. Okay, you're like, oh, they're going, hey, silver weapons aren't that great. Oh, wait, silver weapons are good against paranormal shit, and you need to know that because you're gonna, oh boy, right? And then let's just get to the end. In my opinion, the true first, you better figure it the fuck out, kid. Right? They're like, okay, we're out of the we hate kids, now we hate young adults moment of history.
No,
You're like, I'm gonna go fight this
those
last
same
boss.
kids we hated.
We hate them as young adults too.
Yep.
We gonna hate you to the end of your days. The last boss has a move called Bloody Sin, and you have one chance to evade getting hit by this. And if you do not have the exact right setup, it will obliterate your ass off the face of earth. You will get blown up so hard. Next thing you know, you hanging out with Sean Murray in No Man's Sky. Like, how the fuck did I get here? Right? It's incredible. It's just it's the game that keeps giving. And my own personal trivia on this, to this day, 30% of Vagrant Story cannot be accessed until after you've beaten the game. There's a whole separate dungeon based on a particular thing that happens to Ashley at the end of the game. The key that you get to go and do the last 30% of the game, you will walk into the first room, and it is harder than the last boss. Just walking into the first room, they will fucking brutalize you. I still, well over 20 we're 26 years in. I still haven't gotten through that shit because they are not playing with you. You playing for keeps. They're out for blood.
You walk in, and the first thing you hear is Clarence Boddicker asking you the age-old question. Can you fly, Bobby?
Oh man, they beating your ass. I seriously, I think I've gotten 2 rooms in to that final extra dungeon. And here's a fun fact: the guy that wrote the strategy guide for this, his name is Dan Berlew, right? And the strategy guide is just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's practically necessary to play Vagrant Story. But a few years ago, he went back and updated it. He was like, no, actually, I missed a couple of things here in the Snowfly Forest. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's been 26 years. You're still playing Vagrant Story? And you decided to just release a free update to your strategy guide because you felt it was important to do so? That's fucking rad. Like, no, it's just one of those things.
It's that's his thing. He loves it.
The man loves it.
Yeah.
And, the final note before I shut my ass up, just so people understand what they're looking at, because this is a very, very old game. Just looking at your UI elements up there on screen right now. So you see the HP, MP, you see Risk, and then you see a little paper doll of Ashley down there at the bottom. Again, one of these things that makes this game truly unique is that every single body part of you can be damaged, and it has very serious adverse impacts on gameplay. If your legs get busted up, you can't move as fast. If your right arm gets messed up, your attack drops dramatically. If your left arm gets messed up, you can't guard as effectively. If your head gets messed up, you're blinded, right? If your torso gets messed up, what does it do? Like, doesn't it mess with your ability to heal anything at all, Ace?
Yeah. Torso gets messed up, and it messes with your ability to heal, as well as it actually affects your maximum hit points.
Right, it just ruins you. So you got to stay on top of tending your wounds, almost like Metal Gear Solid 3. But they were doing it before Metal Gear Solid 3. And then you had that risk meter that they showed up there at the top of the screen. And risk is, to this day, the most interesting mechanic I've ever seen. Risk is supposed to be a mechanical, numerical representation of Ashley's adrenaline. So as you get in there and you start running combos on guys, your risk starts going up. His damage goes up, right, as well, but his accuracy starts plummeting through the floor. So at risk 100, unless you are running a really nice combo string, you're almost practically guaranteed to miss, right? But at low risk, he's cool, he's calm, he's collected, he's accurate, right? So he's not hitting as hard either. And some magic spells and some items work differently based on how much risk Ashley has accumulated along the way. So basically, you're trying to think of it as keeping your heart rate and your adrenaline under control, where you want to have a certain amount of risk so you're hitting harder, but not so much that it's handicapping and crippling you. And then finally, as far as I know, this game is the first game in history to have a proper achievement system like you're used to seeing in most games, like chasing trophies, things like that. Oh no, there's a whole set of goals for you to go out and accomplish that it keeps meticulous track of. I can't think of another game before this point in time that had it. It looks like, if you just look in game, it literally looks exactly like a trophy list in any modern game.
Yep.
It's bonkers just how much there's going on in Vagrant Story. And they won't just fucking give it back to us. Give it back. Give it back.
That's their other red button they have to like push once Final Fantasy VII is done. You know, I guess.
Oof.
I don't know.
Say the line, Ace. Say the line.
Say the line, Ace.
Say the line, Ace. It's like, hey, we're supposed to wait for reinforcements.
Woman, I am the reinforcements.
These the fucking reinforcements. It's medieval James Bond. Shit's tight. Play it.
He was the reinforcements before The Rock.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that covers all our days here on Memory Card Chronicles. That was a week. That was a lot of games that week. So,
oh yeah, quite a few bangers this week. But before we jump back into the show, I need everybody to take a look at the screen for a quick second.
sorry, it's loading.
Ahem. There we go. Because you see, if the Sailor Moon squad showed up to a Gamer Quotient photo shoot, that's what it would look like. Cherry blossoms? Check. Main character energy? Oh yeah, 100%. A whole team looking like they're ready to save the world and drop a fire merch post? Also check. I mean, let's be honest here. This image looks like the Sailor Scouts took one break from fighting evil just to say, hold on, before we defend love and justice, where'd you get that hoodie? The answer is quite simple. It's Gamer Quotient merch. We've got the Neurogamer tee, we've got the Gamer Quotient hoodie, we've got the Welcome to the Next Class tee all on display here. And I'm not saying that these outfits give you magical powers, but I am saying they might give you enough confidence to finally tackle that backlog you've been pretending is part of the plan. And now we've added something new to the shop as well. 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 brand new sticker products featuring our official Gamer Quotient mascots, Guy and Quinn. That's correct, everybody. Guy and Quinn have entered the merch store. So, whether you want to slap them on your laptop, your water bottle, your gaming setup, your notebook, or that one storage bin full of cables you swear you're going to organize someday, I have one of each of those. We got you covered. Because sometimes you need a hoodie. Sometimes you need a tee. Sometimes you just need a little sticker that says, yes, I'm a part of this beautifully chaotic gaming academy. So if you're looking at this image and thinking, wow, I too would like to look like I'm part of the coolest gamer squad under the moonlight. Or you just want Guy and Quinn hanging out on your gear. Y'all know where you need to go. But for a refresher, head over to gamerquotient-shop.fourthwall.com. One more time, that's gamerquotient-shop.fourthwall.com. Support the show, rep the brand, grab the new stickers, and remember to ask yourself that age-old question. What's your gamer quotient?
Aren't you
And
adorable?
speaking of shops and spending money, let's kick it over to the watchdog. Back to you, Oliver.
Okay, here's what we got for this week. It's that time. Prices of everything are just going the hell up, right? I'm not sure if people caught this, but the Nintendo Switch 2 is about to go up in price. It's going to go up by about $50 in the States. I think it's going up more in the EU. I'm not 100% on that, but I do definitely know we're about to get a $50 price hike.
Meter one?
the-
What the heck?
yes, sir. The Nintendo Switch 2 is going up by $50.
Oh,
On top of that, everyone just saw the price of the Steam controller launched at $100, right? And people are scalping the ever loving hell out of that, right? I think prices got up to like $250 on eBay for a damn controller. This is getting out of control.
Fucking ew.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. So you know me. Every time I see something that seems like a good deal, I mean, we've covered controllers on here that were just ungodly cheap. And I was like, oh wow, that's a really nice controller for not a whole lot of money. I'm always going to keep an eye out for hardware. I'm always going to keep an eye out for a good bargain on a game. And this week we've got a lot of oldies but goodies. So we just came off of some big sales already. Everybody was doing their spring sale. Those have come to an end. So I had to dig a little bit further. And again, I apologize that it's games that aren't as current, but I know that they are fan favorites and they are goodies from back in the day. So let's just go ahead and go down the list. There's going to be some slight differential in prices here, but I promise you that you're going to have a good time. So starting with PC and Steam, we've got Kerbal Space Program is down to $9.99. And then a game that I haven't actually played, but I've seen a lot of havoc just going absolutely bonkers in, Hydroneer, right? I've watched a lot of Let's Game It Out and how much that guy just breaks that game completely. In fact, I've watched the developers change and patch that game purely based on this guy's antics. So Hydroneer is $4.50 on Steam. And then again, a very, very old game, but still, it's always topical. It always comes up every couple of years. And that would be LA Noire for $6. Moving on to the Xbox series. Hey, again, a certified classic, great game, excellent. It is the game that you need to co-op with somebody if you're going to do it. And that's A Way Out, right? That's coming in at $8.99. Like, it was the game that showed me that Joseph Fares, in fact, knew what he was talking about. Now, this one might be kind of mixed for people, but again, on the Xbox, you're going to be able to pick up Back 4 Blood Deluxe Edition for $8.99. Now, if we jump over to the PS4 and PS5, I would say this is probably the slimmest pick in the bunch, but you can get Doom 1 and 2 together for $9.99. As well as Twisted Metal Black. You're like, isn't that a PS2 game? Yes, I told you it was bad. You can get Twisted Metal Black for $9.99, which, to be fair, yeah, no, that's the game that's worth it. Like, no, that if you're gonna pay $10 for a PS2 game, yeah, that's the one, right? Like, just some real off the wall batshit shit.
Twisted Metal Black. That's one I haven't heard about in a while.
Mm-hmm. But it's up. Like, no, the deals this week are kind of weird, right? And then finally, for this Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, we have Bee Simulator that is going for $5.99. The game that I love, and almost no one will play this game with me because it's Mario Party without the party. Overcooked Special Edition is $3.99. And then we're going to finish it off with a game that actually everyone loves on the Nintendo Switch and basically every platform it ever came on. Say again?
I say anything.
Oh, I don't know.
It might have been some echo on your end.
Must have been. Like, I don't know. I said it, and I heard Bruce Wayne talking, and I was like, yes, Batman. No, so the final game is Batman Arkham City for the Switch, and that is clocking in at $9.99. As I said, this whole week was nothing but oldies but goodies. Like, honest to God, I'm looking at this list. I'm like, I don't think a single one of these games came out within the past 6 years, except for maybe Hydroneer. Like, no, some of these they're dusty. Okay, they're backlog games. This is the Ace backlog special week. I mean, get in there. I mean, that's easily
I can work with that.
$100 worth of games. Not even that, right? But okay, they're solids. They're solids. If you don't have them, now's the time to add them. But that's what I've got for the game deals this week.
Sweet. Thank you. All right, guys, we're getting to that point on the podcast where we're going to go closer to the end here, and we'll do the final boss for this week. So,
I love one thing before we get into that.
before
That I love that I have this weird thousand yard stare. Like Ace looks like he has purpose. I just look fucking horrified.
looking like, what's going on over there?
Right, like fuck they doing over there? Get your ass in class.
I mean, to be fair, yours definitely has a Persona 2 vibe to it.
It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do some tweaks on that.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, tonight's final boss segment is called Always Online, and I'll explain why. Thank you. Tonight's final boss is called Always Online. And gamers, we know that phrase. For a lot of us, when we hear Always Online, we immediately think of games that require a connection, even when we're playing by ourselves. Maybe it's for server checks. Maybe it's for cloud saves. Maybe it's for anti-cheat. Maybe it's because the publisher looked at a single player experience and said, you know what this needs? It needs login errors. And if you were here for the Diablo 3 on PC at launch, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You weren't just fighting demons. You weren't just fighting skeletons, elites, and the armies of the burning hells. You're fighting error number 37. You finally got your snacks, you cleared your schedule, you sat down ready to click monsters into loot confetti, and the real final boss was not Diablo. It was the login screen. And that's funny now but there's something real in that. Because in life, a lot of us are living like we're required to always be online, right? Always available, always reachable, always checking messages, always refreshing notifications. I'm guilty of that. Always responding, always posting, always producing. Okay. A lot of this hits us here at the Academy, but tonight we're covering this because we're always proving that we're still here, still grinding, still useful, still active. And at first it feels like power and it feels like you're connected to everything. But after a while, it starts to feel less like a connection and more like a drain. Now, in Diablo 3, the whole fantasy is about power. You build your character, you chase better gear, you push higher difficulty, you upgrade your skills, you find that legendary drop that makes your whole build finally click. But even the strongest character can't do anything if they can't connect. And in life, even the strongest person can't function if they never disconnect, right? You can have the best build. You can have the best gear. You can have the best intentions. But if your energy bar is empty and you're not ready for the next dungeon, that's where Lost Planet 2 comes in. In that game, survival is tied to energy, thermal energy. Now you're out there fighting giant Akron, piloting vital suits, trying to survive hostile environments, and your resources matter. You cannot just run into every battle like you have infinite fuel. You have to manage your energy. You have to know when to push. You have to know when to regroup. You have to know when the squad needs to move together instead of everyone playing hero. Proof of a hero, that is. And that's a lesson a lot of us need because some of us are trying to live life like we have unlimited energy. We say yes to everything. We carry too many responsibilities. We answer every message instantly. We scroll when we should sleep. We work when we should recover. Now, we keep trying to fight one more boss, one more mission, and to finish one more objective. And then we wonder why we feel frozen. We wonder why we're burned out. We wonder why we're not even enjoying the things we used to love. But maybe the problem isn't that you are weak. Maybe the problem is that you've never gave yourself a recharge point. Because rest is not the opposite of progress. Rest is actually a part of the build. Now, every good RPG understands this, right? You go back to town, you repair your gear, sell the junk, right? Refill your potions, store your mana, talk to NPCs, check your stash, all these things you got to do for your next quest. Now, you breathe before going back into that dungeon. Nobody calls that quitting. That's preparation. That's totally normal. Now, even in action games, you have safe rooms, checkpoints, camps, bonfires, old-fashioned save points. Now, the game is telling you, hey, you made it this far. Now take a second and reset. Get ready for what's next. Now, but in real life, we ignore the save point, right? We walk right past it. The music changes, the boss door is glowing, our health is low, we have no potions, and somehow we still say, nah, I'm good. No, player, you are not good. You need to heal. And I think that's the real final boss for tonight. The belief that being available all the time makes you stronger. It really doesn't. Sometimes it makes you scattered. Sometimes it makes you tired. And sometimes it makes you resentful. Sometimes it makes you feel like your whole life is one giant notification bubble you can never clear. That's basically my iPhone. Being always online does not mean you're always connected. Sometimes it means you are disconnected from yourself. So maybe the challenge this week is simple. Log off with intention. I mean, don't do it forever. Don't do it dramatically, right? Not in a delete everything and move into the forest kind of way. Just take back a little of control, okay? Phone down during dinner, stop checking work messages after a certain hour, right? Create those boundaries for yourself. Take a night where you play a game just for fun, not for content, not for progress, not for the backlog, not for the algorithm, right? Just play your casual, chill game. Rest without feeling like you have to earn it first, because you don't need to be constantly available to be valuable. You don't need to respond instantly to matter. You don't need to grind yourself into dust to prove you're dedicated. And you do not need to stay connected to everything that drains you. Even Sanctuary needs heroes who are rested. Even the battlefield in Lost Planet 2 needs players who knows when to manage energy. Even the best squad falls apart if everybody runs it empty. So tonight, as we close, remember this. The goal is not to be always online. The goal is to be fully present when it matters. Present for your people, present for your purpose, present for your joy. Present for the mission you actually chose, right? Because the real legendary drop is not another notification. It's peace. It's focus. It's having enough energy left to continue to enjoy the game you're playing and the life you're building. So log in when it matters, log off when you need to, recharge your energy, repair your gear, rest at that save point. You've earned it. Because you can't save Sanctuary, survive EDN 3, or become the hero of your own game if your connection to yourself keeps climbing up. And that's tonight's final boss. So I'd like to hear, just chat and panels, takeaways from that.
It's like to kind of sum it up. I guess if I could sum it up, you have to treat yourself like a weapon that Brock blessed in God of War. May you always strike true. May you be wielded with wisdom, and may you be put down when your job is done. Simply put, once you finish doing what you need to, take a load off, rest, go touch grass, enjoy the sky. Just literally stop and smell the flowers, because that right there is going to help you recharge for when you have to hit the road again. But also make sure to set those boundaries for yourself too. Like every business that operates well has business hours. Go the same route if need be. Like set an alarm. Hell, my alarm's going to be going off in about 3 minutes.
Cool. Makes sense.
You know, it's an interesting little thing that's been happening with me. Very frequently, I'll find a game that I really, really, really enjoy, really, really enjoy, and I'll stream it, and no one shows up for it. And you know what? I've made it a point to learn to stop caring about that because the number one thing that should be there at all times is my enjoyment of the game.
Bingo.
My wife points this out to me frequently. She goes, "You don't look like you're having fun."
Mm.
And I'm like, "I'm not enjoying a particular game, right?" And she's like, "Stop playing it." Like, because one of the biggest things that I've always had going for me and my channel is if I get juiced up, everybody gets juiced up, right? If I'm over here running, screaming, and doing backflips in my house because I'm having so much fun, people are like, fuck, I want to have that kind of fun. And they'll get into it. But it is really important to remember to play what you play for yourself more than anybody else. Like, fuck what I say, fuck what the reviewers say, fuck what the whole crowd is saying. They're like, oh, this is the greatest thing. No, man, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Which, in bread's defense, that is pretty fucking cool. I mean, we just get a piece of bread, a nice even piece of bread. I'm like, I respect it. I respect the hustle, but but it doesn't matter. What matters is if you're enjoying it. It doesn't matter what platform it's on, right? I've had to grow and become a certain age to really understand and have an appreciation for that. I don't give a fuck where you play games, right? If you're like, oh, I only play Vampire Survivors on my phone, or I'm only playing Balatro, but it's like, but are you playing it? Are you having a good time with it, right? You know the ins and outs. Do you know that game so well? I don't need to go to the wiki. I can just ask you. Well, shit, you fucking dedicated right there, nephew. Like, that's it. That's the good stuff, right? People forgot that games were supposed to be fun, right? And even though, look, let's be real here, kids. We're running a business here. Our business is to talk about games. Our business is to look at this not just as hobbyists and enthusiasts, but we're also people who are old enough to understand the business of games and why certain things happen the way that they do. But we're always trying to point you towards something that at least we find to be fun and think that you might enjoy it being fun as well. You know, it's kind of weird. Most of us have at least worked in video game retail at some point, right? And this is actually not that far removed from that space. My job is to literally find things that are interesting for you, right? And try and save you a couple of bucks too in the process. But always remember that. Don't cave to weird peer pressure or what's popular. If you don't give a fuck about GTA 6, you're like, you know what? I don't care about Grand Theft Auto. It's just not interesting to me. Hey, more power to you. I respect that. I respect you more for having the bravery to go, this is not my taste. I don't know why. It just doesn't work for me. And there's tons of games that are like that for me. I'm not out here being a contrarian. I'm really just going, this isn't interesting to me. Elden Ring was a very divisive game for me in my stream. I played through that. I platted the fuck out of that game, right? I did everything you could do in Elden Ring. I hate Elden Ring. I platted it so I never had to play it again. I was like, just so when someone goes, oh, you didn't like Elden Ring, you weren't good at it. I've platted it. Have you? No? Then shut the fuck up about my opinion. You shut that bullshit up, Chief.
I would say I would actually double down on that. Have you ever platted a game you hated before?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should be saying. Yeah, because they're gonna say no to that.
Right. It's like, I hated the game. I understand it mechanically, but it didn't work and it didn't resonate with me on multiple levels. And Bloodborne's the same way. I hate Bloodborne's gameplay, but I love Bloodborne's narrative. I'm like, oh, this is some of the best storytelling I've ever seen. Now, the real joke is also for our upcoming bit, we will very likely be covering Bloodborne, and Ace did not have a good experience with Bloodborne, so look forward with that.
Nope.
Because we're going to have to pick that shit apart too. But the point remains. The point remains is that remember to just play games because you want to have fun with them. And it doesn't matter what you're playing. If it's Power Wash Simulator, fuck it, go play it, right? What's my opinion? It's your house, it's your money. Go play. Just enjoy it. Hey, you like
Yeah.
I gotta go fuck around in Animal Crossing. I haven't visited my Animal Crossing house in years. I bet the cockroaches have evolved and taken over the island at this point. I'm like, oh, y'all just moved the fuck in. Okay, like I didn't know, but you know what? Let me just
That's
pack my
called
shit and move out.
cockroach crossing.
Right?
No,
They
no,
are running that shit.
no.
Nook
It
is
went
just a
from
button.
Animal Crossing to Joe's apartment.
Mm. Wow, no one's mentioned that movie in
Name drop.
years.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. But yeah, that's really the point. Like, go where you're having fun. It doesn't matter. If you're like, I only play games released on the Game Boy Advance SP, right? And you just build up just a collection of GBA SP games, and you got like the Abernic, and you got like what was the version of the Game Boy that Palmer Luckey put out or whatever? You got that. That's where your investment is. Great. I'm glad to see it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. People who get caught up in console warring or people who get caught up in franchise warring, like they're just out there looking for their own validation because they need someone else to externally validate their choices. You are the only person that can validate your choices. If you spent the money and you're having a good time, well, it's right there. The proof is in the pudding.
Yep. And I think that's like, for example, I've not played Yakuza yet, and Nick's of course like pushing that, right? And I'm like, I'll get there when I get there, right?
Yep.
I played the shit out of Exo Primal, and I was like, Ace, you gotta try this, man. He was like not down at first, and I was like, well, playing it's different. I just like slowly showed him a little bit here and there, and eventually he played, and he was like, this is awesome, right? But like seeing it on screen, you're like, nah, not for me. Until you play it and you're like, this is for me. So it's crazy. It's so many variables in this whole game hobby that we have. It's wonderful. I love it. There's no one way to do something.
And there's just one tiny little incidental tied into all this. So a game came out in early access recently, and the guy to my left has been playing it as well. And I really need to make a knitted eyebrows state for this because it did okay. It's doing okay in early access, but it's not making waves. And it's called Dead as Disco. And Ace and I have been fucking brawling each other over scores all week.
Back and forth.
That's so beautiful because like you look at that game, you don't think about points, but the fact that you guys are loving it, you guys reverted it back to the arcade like mentality.
Bingo.
That's so cool.
And we're continuing this. It's literally a tug of war. Watching one guy pull ahead and just a couple more score, and it's going, how the fuck did he do that? Right? Like what did he do? And so you're having to go back and refine your own move set and go, wait a minute, how am I going to get this score higher? How's this possible? And just sneaking around and trying to figure out this thing and posting scores back and forth to each other. It's like, okay, let's go. Let's fucking do it. Right? It's a different kind of tension that we basically haven't had since Guilty Gear Xrd. Oh man, he just kept snatching my ass up and putting me down until I fucking learned better. It's like, you know what? Don't go up in there because he's just gonna grab me. He's just gonna grab me and put me back on my ass. He could have set me down in the stool and tell me to blow out my birthday candles, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, stop jumping. He's got this under control. And it's kind of that same thing.
That's why whenever I see clips like that, I always tag them with Highway Robbery, brought to you by Potemkin and sponsored by Heat Hat.
All this damn pudding, right? That's what we used to call it in Guilty Gear. We were like, oh yeah, we're bullying each other and taking each other's pudding out of our lunch bags and all that. And so it's really exciting because soon, quote unquote soon, they're gonna add in co-op in Dead as Disco, and that's gonna be an entirely different hell to pay, right? I think that's when it's really gonna blow up and just show what kind of nonsense we can do and show people, wait, there's something cooking here. But I mentioned it because very few people are watching this game.
Yeah, you guys are actually going to pull off breakdance fighting.
Yeah.
That's crazy. One of the I haven't, and it's beautiful that you guys are playing that game, like just like you guys are all about it. I think the other game that I had that same rivalry with another friend of mine was when Need for Speed like Rivals was out, right? Because in Rivals you can see your friends score and race their ghost, right? And so we had that same thing where like he would race my ghost and he would beat my score and I'd race his ghost and we'd do back and forth. So that's like these small things that they add in games that like add, give you the urge to play more of the game. So some
Right.
stuff like that. Like if, for example, right now when you guys talk about Dead as Disco, and I personally haven't played it yet, but even thinking of co-op, what would be really cool is if you guys it was co-op, right? But then you guys maybe had a set, you guys would trade off on fighting a character. Or, like kind of like how DDR has those battles, right? Right when like
Oh,
it's they're part of the song, so you do this, and then the other part of the song you do that.
so duets.
Yeah, kind of like that, right? And maybe to like kind of increase the difficulty of the game. Maybe one of these fight scenes, you guys have to be in sync, like in that Evangelion episode, right? Where you have to fight in the rhythm together. So that'd be really cool too. So there's a lot of possibility here. And you're right. More people need to hear about this. Dead as Disco. Check it out, guys. Early access, right?
Yes, sir.
It's in early access right now, and the demo is still available. So if you don't have the spare cash to pick it up, at least give the demo a shot.
Yeah, just make it. Just tell it to your friends and make it go viral. A lot of people don't know about it, and they should, in my opinion. So,
Yep, it's on sale. It is on sale. On top of that, so for their launch, it's only 19, and I can tell you right now, I've dropped over 30 hours into that game.
Already paid for
over
multiple times.
Already paid for.
Yeah.
Yep, it is that damn good. It's just a good time. If you liked Arkham City, just as we talked about earlier, if you liked any kind of music game in the past, right, from Dance Dance Revolution to Bust a Groove or Bust a Groove 2, Beatmania, right, Guitar Hero, no, all of this is going to feel right at home for you, and it's just an original, fun take on these ideas. It's super, super, super clean. It has no business being as good as it is. It's like, isn't that something neat? Just didn't expect it.
I watched Maximilian Dude play this game on a stream, and he was fighting the rapper guy. What's his name, Ace?
Prophet.
Oh, dude, the set pieces in that game, like whoever designed it, and it's early access, so I'm not even considering it to be done yet. Like the transitions from like the stages, and I was like, man, whoever did this was watching Persona. Clearly, was like, and they let their creative juices flow. That's how like cool this game is, in my opinion. So, yeah, I would. Do you guys play it on a certain schedule? When can the audience watch you guys play this game?
When can they watch? Shit, I'm about to do it here in 5 minutes.
right after the show, go jump on Oliver's stream.
Right after we're getting right in it. I know I'm at to fight Ace's ass because that's just how it is.
I might have updated a couple of entries.
Oh dear God.
Well, with that said, Ace, why don't you close us out for the night so you guys can get in your breakdance fights?
Can do. So, with that being said, that's going to wrap up class session number 75 of the Gamer Quotient Gaming Academy. Tonight, we talked about what happens after AAA when developers leave the big machine and have to face the reality that freedom comes with responsibility. We talked about how big dreams are important, but if the build is unstable, the whole thing can fall apart before the first boss fight even starts. We also looked at Sega's canceled Super game and asked the real question: does every company need to chase the next forever game? Or would the industry be better off if more studios focused on strong, stylish, memorable titles that actually know what they are and aren't ashamed of it? Then we opened up Memory Card Chronicles, took a trip through gaming history. We talked about Last Planet 2 with its giant acrid, vital suits, squad-based chaos, and that Capcom flavor that makes you say, this is weird, but I respect it. And we revisited Diablo 3 on PC, a game that launched with Error Moment 37, The Auction House, and a whole lot of controversy, but eventually found its redemption arc. Afterward, we hit you with the final boss where the headmaster brought it home with Always Online. Because whether we're talking about Diablo 3 needing that constant connection, or Lost Planet 2 making you manage your Tang, Yes, I said it. It all comes back to Tang.
Yeah, you did.
Fucking Tang.
The lesson, either way, hits outside the game too. You cannot run every mission on empty. You cannot keep fighting if you never recharge. You cannot stay in the match forever without checking your own health bar. So here's the homework for the week, everybody. Check your energy, not just your schedule, not just your notifications, not just your backlog. Check yourself. Are you rested? Are you locked in? Are you moving with purpose? Or are you just staying online because you forgot you're allowed to log off? Because sometimes the strongest technique is not another combo. Sometimes it's breathing, resetting your stance, backing out of range, and coming back with a better game plan. Thanks again for everybody for tuning in live. For those of you watching later, those of you hanging out in the chat, lurking from the shadows, and supporting the Academy. Make sure you follow us on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, join the conversation in the Discord. Check out the Jago's Quest channel as well. We've got some really good stuff there for you. And make sure to grab your Gamer Quotient merch and use the code GQAsianGaming for 10% off at w.gg. For the Headmaster, for Nick, who was unfortunately unable to make it with us, and for Oliver and the rest of the Gaming Academy faculty, I'm Blazing Ace Nelson. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, keep leveling up, and remember to ask yourself, what's your gamer quotient? Class dismissed.